Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just like my intro, tonight is going to be a little bit of a long one. Hence, we've started about 20 seconds early. It's the Mexican Grand Prix, round number 14, and boy oh boy, is it chucking it down up here in the hills of Mexico. I'm CRL Freefall, aka Scotty, once again joined by the lovely little Leroy. How are you doing tonight, mate?
I mean, I've just seen it's raining, so I'm even more intrigued now, Scott.
Really gonna spice things up. Yeah, not expected, like you're gonna say there. And it's not like the usual weekends, Lee, where they have the worry about qualifying and then they're set up for the race. They've got the worry about the set up for the qualifying, set up for the sprint, and then of course the feature race. This could have a far-reaching impact, and it looks as if we're readying up pretty early here tonight.
Oh, guys.
Ben back in the lobby, so well, his setup plans are completely out the window and doesn't give us much of a warning here, just straight on in as we're about to start the lap. And I think there is only one man we can jump on board with. It's got to be the championship leader. It's got to be the man that's put it on pole a number of times in recent weeks. It's Mark Wilson. I think you're going to keep an eye on SVFC, of course. Championship battle in full swing here, Lee. 22 points separate our top three, and I believe a few quali bans here tonight, so you'll see a number of drivers getting DSQ'd. But I'm going to try and very quickly summarise this quali session then, as Mark Wilson is already on the rundown to turn 4. Would be the second DRS section of the lap, end of sector 1, but of course, no DRS in the rain. And look at that top 3, Lee. It's our championship top 3.
Right on board, as you see, going through the same section. Yeah, at the moment it is. We're nearly in chronological order, obviously, but we'll see what happens. Rob, we're in P4 doing well, but we'll see as you come to the tricky S section here. SFC kind of stepping at the back end, struggling a little bit through here, but he gets through just about. Goes a little bit wide. He's not had a great S section, but since the victim is the one to beat at the moment.
Yeah, Mark Wilson keeping it nice and tidy through the S's there. SFC dropping down to 5th. Mark maybe a little bit reserved. Could have pushed the boundaries a little bit more, but one shot, one chance. It's really easy to run wide, DSQ, and completely mess up your chances. This, of course, sets the grid for the sprint race, which then the final results set the grid for the feature. Top 6 getting the points, but all eyes on Victor Mean and Mark Wilson. Victor Mean takes the pole by 6/10. Mark Wilson.
6th.
Ooh. Tasty indeed. P1 in the championship starting P2, P3 in the championship starting P1, and P2, sorry, nearly got my numbers mixed up there, but I just about got it, starting in P6. There is your sprint race starting grid then. Victor, I mean, like we said, P3 in the championship, 22 of the man joining him on that front row. Mark Wilson, championship leader. Marshall, great result for the Ferraris, P3 and P5. Topher, the other Ferrari there in P5. Spider Rob, disappointing season for him. He's bouncing back though. P4 here tonight in the sprint quali. SFC in the championship hunt picks up P6. Duncan, a new reserve, making his debut tonight. The Portuguese driver in the Williams. P7 ahead of Mean, Moody, Hasbala, Curly, AFL, BX37 Pro, and Ghost Angel 1. Wuban, Trunders, Murphy and DS Baker, and I believe all 4 of them serving quali bans here tonight. It's not a bad one though, Lee, you know. You're going to serve a quali ban, do it in a sprint race.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, SFC on the back foot already, but being on pole here isn't in favour, obviously, with the Norman down to turn 1. I'd say Marshall or Mark Wilson in the best spot with that huge solution in the turn 1. It would be quite chaotic, but hopefully no major incidents.
Fingers crossed, for it is a little bit of a weird one at times as well. One of those circuits where sometimes it's actually better starting second. You get that nice little DRS rundown into turn number 1. I'm just having a little look here because I can't. Some say it's our stream. We're definitely live. I hope we're not getting the same issues you had a few weeks ago, Lee, at Hungary.
I'll have a look just to make sure. But
it says there's 4 watching, so I wonder if it's just maybe a little notification ping issue for some people. I can't find it myself, to be fair. So
no, oh yeah, let me check.
Definitely live. Well,
yeah, we're up.
Well, that's good. Oh, it came up for me now. There you go. You just need to hit the refresh button, lads. Although not that they can hear me because they can't find the stream.
Lazy sods, anyway.
Anyway, yes, let's get to the important details then, Lee. 12 laps around the... let me just double check the name of this circuit. I can never remember. It's the Autodromo Hermanes Rodriguez, of course, the highest altitude circuit on the calendar, Lee. It's also one of the trickiest it can be. Corner cutting penalties galore. We've seen it in the past. I believe last season, maybe even the season before, not quite sure. But MUFC Harvey winning the race with 21 seconds of pens, quite the feat. But like we expected though, Lee, 12 laps on the clock. Medium tyres on the cars. Easily see them to the end. And the skies, of course, are green. No, green. They are blue. The sector times will be green. The skies are, of course, blue.
Some of them might be purple or red, so...
Well, yeah, I'm on the hopeful
You're
side.
half right.
Yeah, there can only be 3 purple sectors, and that's for one of them each. We're right on board then with Victor Mean, as this grid is, well, they're definitely getting the social distancing in.
I mean, DS Baker's just going through the first stadium section. Victor Mean's already lined up, waiting here a while, I think. But thankfully, in the game, when you're lining your tires, stay at that temperature, so...
Yeah, that is. There is no real temperature loss for Victor Mean, for Mark Wilson, for Marshall, for Spider Rob. All of the first 4 are going to line up on this grid. It'll be an interesting run down to turn 1 then. Tricky little section to start off a lap, of course, Lee. The right, left, right. Opportunities to spin, opportunities to run wide, and opportunities to make it 4 or 5 wide while we're at it as well. So definitely a brilliant race to start. And we're going to see it at least twice. We might even see it a few more times with the old safety car. Not an uncommon thing to see around here. We've talked about the corner cutting penalties. Let's talk about the spins and the walls. It can happen. And I think if we got that would give us the trifecta. Because we'll definitely see pens. We've already seen the rain. Let's get Bert Maylander out. We're currently just waiting on DS Baker and a Haas. Not a Haas.
He is the Haas.
It is a Haas. It's Haas Buller.
Oh God, no. Wait, why is he back?
I am confused. Now,
right, boys, we take a very quick now. We like you, but come on. Speed up a little bit.
Yeah, it is a little bit ridiculous, mate. I won't lie. After last week, starting P14 and deciding to race round, this is a little bit. You're just wasting everybody's time here, mate. I'm going to be cut and dry with it. Yeah, well, we're not going to give them any coverage. Let's look at the boys on the grid. Anyway, we're about to get underway, eventually. 12 laps of the sprint race, followed by 36 laps of the feature race, so 48 in total, around the 4.3 kilometre, 2.6 mile circuit. Most successful driver, of course, Max Verstappen. That is, of course, in recent years. It has been held as far back as 1962 when, and I know you're going to make a joke about it, Lee. I know I wasn't born then, despite how old you seem to think I am.
I think you're going to say that, don't worry. There we go.
Lotus and Red Bull, the most successful drivers, and one of the Red Bulls in the championship will be hoping to add to those numbers, but it is going to be 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Mexican sprint race. Spider Rob gets a great start, jumping ahead of Marshall, who's dropping down a number of positions. SUFC claims one of those as well. There's a gaggle of cars in the mid-pack there, Lee. 4 or 5 wide, and it's going to be a mental run down to turn 1.
SUFC going around the outside. Oh, there's contact between the top 2, but Victor Mean holds on. SUFC up into P4 at the moment. A good start from him, but Victor Mean holds strong for now into turn 4 now. As I'm not sure there's contact from behind. Victor Mean holds on. SUFC up in the P4. Robert in the P3. SUFC got a penalty already.
Yeah, strange. We kind of caught that there. Seemed to be on the entrance to turn 4, so I don't know if he's maybe had a little bit of, whether he's already had 2 warnings through the first couple of corners, or it might be just a little bit of a silly impact on the game, an instant 3-second pen. We'll find out in due course. Of course, it's not something we can really look at the stewards too much, and we can remove it maybe for a points perspective, but it's not as if we can go in and alter where he will start. Of course, remember, this result starts the grid for the feature races. We see Spider Rob and Marshall duking it out down into turn 12. We will eventually get DRS in this race, but the front 2 are already bolting away. 1.6 seconds the gap from P2 to P3. And Victor Mean doing everything he can to break that 1 second gap to Spider Rob already. FGFC him to settle back into P5. And the new boy, Duncan, settling in P6. A decent start from him.
Yeah, Victor Mean doing what needs to do. Speaking of Mark, SFC going down, going for a half and one. We try and go for running outside. We're trying to get the switchback, I think, going up in turn 4. Not the greatest of exits here. I think we'll have to go back. But yeah, speaking of Mark Gross on the phone, he said this track is not one of his favourites. So even just, he said obviously he wants to win, but he said a dominant limitation is the main thing for him tonight. Obviously, Victor Mean doing well at the moment. Mark Gross is only 7 tenths behind, and DRS will be enabled next lap. I mean, you know how long that straight is. This track having 3 DRS, so it's one down the main straight, one down the second straight, and one after the S section, so there's lots of chance of overtaking around here. So Mark Wilson, if he just keeps with him, who knows what can happen.
Yeah, definitely. That is really, you're hitting the nail on the head there. 18-point lead for Mark, 22 points back to Victor Mean, so as we have a spinning Hasbula further down the pack, but every point matters at this stage. There's 99 points available in total, of course. 6 of those could come from winning the sprint race here tonight. But you know, he needs to be outscored by about 8 or 9 points per race. So if you can minimise that, they finish a couple of positions ahead of you, it can do you wonders. Marshall then looking to have a look on Spider Rob on the run down to turn 1. DRS not yet enabled, of course. It is enabled, sorry, but it's the first DRS straight, but they haven't run over the detection yet. Double detection here in Mexico, like you're saying, Lee. 3 DRS, but the first 2 all on that 1 detection point at the end of the stadium section. So it really is key. Little battle in there, trying to make sure you're in the right position to get that boost, get that advantage, because not do you get it once, you can get it twice. You can make the move into turn 1 and then stream away into turn 4. We might see a little bit of that in the coming laps. FGFC having to still settle in for 5th as AFL and BX37 Pro joining him on the penalty standpoint. So we've got to jump down the field a little bit though, because Trundos was getting mighty close to the rear of Mean Moody going into the S's. Had to back out a little bit and dropped off that gap, but a little train forming from P8 behind Topher, who's held down the order a bit. And speaking about falling down the order, it is the new boy Duncan having a first of many spins we might see tonight on the front runners. Who knows, but spins aren't uncommon in Kona. I've been there plenty of times myself, and I suppose.
Me too, buddy, me too.
Welcome to the party, Duncan. Welcome to the fun.
Yeah. Victor Mean has actually done pretty well. He's cleared DRS at 1.4 clear. Seems to have the pace at the moment. SFC going for a Marshall doesn't really defend too much. SFC up now into P4. Will clear him now after Rob. We're hoping. Obviously, as you said, he'll start wherever he finishes with that penalty. Now, apparently he got 3 1s. Now, I don't know how that's physically possible. I reckon he got a double 1 or something, but look, we'll see. It'll be revealed and everything, but SFC trying to pitch shit out the Raw. But front 2, they have just shot off on this. 3 seconds clear already after 4 laps. Those 2 seem to be in the league of their own, but it's only a sprint race. Maybe some drivers holding back. You never know. Maybe some drivers trying to just get a good starting position and then hopefully, and then they'll push it the full way in the actual race.
Yeah, we'll wait and see with that. Of course, we don't know. Spider Rob runs a little bit wide on the exit of 11. We don't know what the weather forecast, of course, is for the full race. That's a very interesting line from Marshall, and to turn 12, taking it really wide on the entry. Might even have picked up a warning there while I was at it, but rain could be on the way, maybe later on in the sprint or even into the feature. So maybe that's playing havoc. Yellow flags further back, and that's Hasbula retiring on the exit of 11. Full course safety car. Lap 5 out of 12 in the sprint.
I do wonder if we'll see some of the drivers towards the back pit for softs. That's just a query.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd certainly say, you know, if you're probably even Duncan and further back, it's probably worth it. You know, Duncan P13 at the moment. There's not much chance of losing any positions.
Yeah, Duncan was he. That was a weird one. He did a Hamilton 2018 Germany.
He thought about it and then he did it.
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say, mate?
Oh, me and Moody's trying to get past the safety guy, just clattered into it. He doesn't get a pen, so at least there's that. But we'll see.
we'll see how it
Very
pans out.
interesting.
None of them jumping in the pits though. The EMS maybe Ghost Angel 1 opts to, but he might be fearful of the old lapped car. So if he is going to pit, probably worth going around once more. I was just looking there, we're not on lap 4, we're on lap 5, but that's because Ghost is just yet to cross the line. So it'll be lap 6 that the safety car picks up the pack. It's unlikely we're going to get racing at the end of lap 6, so probably the end of lap 7, start of lap 8 will leave us a nice little 5-lap shootout here, Lee.
Yep.
And if somebody was to gamble on the soft, you would fancy their pace to be pretty good. AFL definitely pushing the pace under safety car, picks up another 3-second time penalty. He will be kicking himself for that. I know our Manny's been around the block a few times here in CRL, been up in the championship fights and not having the best of starts to his night tonight. But yeah, it'll be an interesting little sprint to the end. Of course, you add in that DRS that is quite a big pool around this circuit. You add that into the mix and a couple of laps of that, maybe see who's feeling brave with the ERS, see who saves it, see who uses it.
Yeah.
Could be a spicy little mix.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If you think Mark Wilson and Victor they have terms, whereas Rob, Marshall's, your AFLs, your Tovers, they have nothing to lose. So, there's definitely a chance for like Rob and Marshall to pick up some very valuable points, and not just in this race, but also in the future. Championship contenders, they want to just get through the race. Not get any wing damage, so they'll be more conservative. So, there's an opportunity for some of the guys at an down championship here.
Absolutely. You look at the likes of your Spider Rob, Marshall. Of course, Marshall up near the top of the pack. He's got that battle with AFL. Tofar, even Trunders and Moody. Murphy even down in P10. You know, if they can get a good little run here towards the end of this sprint race, we all know itself, there's nothing quite like putting points in the table or a good result in the table to build your confidence. And when you're doing that on a track that you're literally just about to go out on again, you've done 12 laps, you've brought home the bacon, so to speak, it really can give you that little boost, and maybe we'll see a surprise winner, a surprise podium contender, some light drama. And perfect point again, Lee, Mark Wilson, Victor Mean, they're not going to risk everything for one more position, you wouldn't think. They are playing the long game here for these final few rounds, so it spices things up. It makes it a little bit more. I'm gonna open up my dictionary. Tumultuous. Is that the right word? I don't know. So. If there's anybody that speaks English properly in the comments, let us know. Is that the right word?
I mean, because when you being Scottish, me being Irish, we are definitely not any of those people.
I mean, I think you've got to give us a clap. We've done the whole season speaking in a second language, and we've done it pretty good. Not
you know any Gaelic, whatever you call it.
I don't know much. I know a little bit like I know snock is pig, and grandfather, that's grandfather. So I can and Agus, so I can say grandfather and pig. Not really much use for conversationals, but
it could be. Never know.
Just find
Any Spanish?
Spanish.
I know a few words, but I can't say them here. So
yeah, I don't think any of the sentences are very politically correct. They're all pretty stereotypical. It must be said.
Lubaz listening to the whole thing and get back in. It could be in the side. It could be an A call. Ghost Angel 1 has just got something to the back of him now, so it could be a very late call. Well,
I think it will be, Lee. I think it'll call it in just as pretty much just as they get round the little hairpin.
Yes, we want to. Come on. Lubaz's back in. That's good. Is it in? Yeah, it's in. Here we go.
Ghost joining right there, joining up to the pack at the right time. Wuban joining back to the lobby at the right time as well. So we will be under racing once again. 8 laps into this sprint. 5 to go, including the 8th, as Wuban is having a nightmare with his old connection. Safety car into the pit saying it's over to Victor Mean, who gets us under racing. BX37 Pro having a collision under the safety car. AFL getting a mighty launch, takes SUFC and Marshall. Marshall losing out to SUFC, and he might lose out to his teammate here as well, who's side by side. They're almost free wide as Topher has a little look around the outside. The front 4 or 5 getting away pretty much as they were. The two Ferraris side by side then through free. This opens up Trundles, who gets a little bit of a connection there as Topher loses it under traction coming out of free, and this gaggle of cars is really making it interesting for us on the restart. Trundles gaining 2 positions in 1 corner.
Yeah, Trundles up in the 6th there, 2 Ferraris falling along, and HFC down to AFL. What a restart from him, turning to perfection. Yeah, the front 3, sorry, as they were off the restart. Victor Mean doing the right thing, just getting away when he can, and he'll be hoping to clear DRS. But that safety car wasn't going to get for HFC, because that means he'll fall down further. In terms of grip position.
That's true. You looked at I think the gap, it was SUFC saying 5th and AFL in 7th or whatever. There was about the 3 seconds gap there. Obviously AFL got penned himself, but it kind of relegated SUFC dropping as low as it's maybe 5th or 6th. Now he's got to build that gap amongst the pack behind once again. Of course, they are starting to stretch out towards that second, 6 to 7th, so it will start to accumulate pretty quickly. But again, it's not the best sort of confidence he needs as well, with those warnings starting to creep in, especially if it's right enough what you say that he'd somehow got a double in the first 3 and then got 1 for the entry, which is a bit, I must admit, personally, I would feel a bit hard done by, but as the saying goes, the game's the game, and it's what happens. Not quite the right context, but I think you get the gist.
Yeah, it's fine.
Pretty
awesome.
SGFC still trying to chase down at the McLaren of AFL. They are sort of maybe not being, I wouldn't say bottled up, but being held back maybe ever so slightly by Spider Rob. Rob maybe just a bit more content to keep it easy. We see AFL taking a little bit too much of that corner once again. He's bound to be racking up the warnings once again. SUFC getting in close, but it's not going to be close enough until the DRS, and he almost makes it too close. Oh, that was almost disaster.
He was building up a gap, and then that gap's just been evaporated completely. Now at the moment they're finishing 8th, which is quite disastrous for him. But Trundles has made a mistake. He'll go for the move again. On the outside, the DRS now enabled, won't be enabled on this straight. Now it'll be a pure drag race down to turn 1. Trundles is not using, neither am I using. It's pure straight line speed. Like the old days here, down to turn 1. SFC on the outside, Trundles on the inside. Into turn 1, SGFC breaks latest and gets the move done.
They've done BX37 Pro retires in the pits, and Murphy getting the move done on Mean Moody. It looked slightly further back, and Trundles battling it out there with SGFC, reclaims that position. But like you say, that every little bit of time lost really starts to add up, and quite a heavy breaking point that towards the end of the tyre cycle as well. Again, it's not a confidence builder for SUFC going into this feature race, and it was almost disaster for not just him, but for AFL, who was almost collected yellow flags. I believe it's just Ben coming out of the pits. There is a Mercedes further back, seems to have went a little bit amiss through the S's, but the front 4 here, pretty well spaced out, it must be said now, Lee. 1.3, 1.4, the sort of average gap between them. None of them getting DRS, and maybe just quite content to bring it home as it is. Victor Mean would get 6 points, Mark Wilson would get 5, and FUFC, as it is, would get nothing.
Yeah, at the moment, HFC not looking too good from a... HFC recently, he hasn't had the best string results. I think it's just confidence thing. He needs that one good result. You saw him start the season, he was getting poles, winning left, right and centre, and he was unstoppable. Then he had a little bad run, ever since then it's kind of been up and down for me moving tires and pits. But HFC, he just needs that sort of confidence back into him, I think. He seems to be... His qualifying is the issue. From what his race pace slow is very good, but recently, like Austria, the front 3 maybe are quote unquote the fastest, but the drivers behind them are not slow at all, and obviously with the DRS chains, all that. It's very hard to get past, so HFC, his race pace is very good, but it's just his quality that is, I think, driving the move and leading that championship at the moment. As he's almost spun, gee. That was almost a curse and a half.
Caught that there, it was a little bit of a half spin, it loses him yet another position. SFC, I'm just going to throw it out there as well, hasn't been the same since he made the claim that he felt he pretty much won the championship. I believe that was round about the sort of Hungary era, roundabout back then. Murphy has his weekly spin, it seems. Get them out of the way though, mate. Hopefully for the feature race you'll be going on strong, because it's becoming a little bit too often here, mate. But yeah, I wonder if maybe a few of the drivers taking that as, you know what, I'm going to put a little bit extra work in here. You think you've won this? Let's see if you actually have. And Mark Wilson and Victor Mean definitely been answering that call in recent weeks. Final lap of this sprint though, Lee. And aside from the Hasbulla shenanigans, shall we say, it's been fairly clean and on... I wouldn't say unenergetic or on entertaining, because we have seen plenty of battles, but there's been no real drama, so to speak, which for some is maybe a good thing. For others, maybe not so much. Me in the comms box, I always love a little bit of spice and a little bit of...
Yeah, me too. But, it's fine. It's just saving all for the feature race. With the mean coming to the save section now. First race, he's looking to try and close out the Mark Russell. He's starting off right with the mean round the final corner to the save section. He'll cross the line. He'll take the win, a very dominant win in the sprint race here. Mark Russell in P2, Spider up. There goes with him. AFL in P4. Trundles will get that P4 spot. P5, P6 for AFL. Marshall in 5th. SFC in 7th. Tolfer 8th. Duncan on his debut in 9th. Not bad for him. Wuba in 10th. Currently 11th. Baker in 12th. Murphy in 13th. And Ghost Angel Woman running the finishers in 14th.
Couldn't have done it better myself, son. Couldn't have done it any better myself. Sprint race done and dusted then, folks. Victor Mean took the win ahead of Mark Wilson. 6 points for Victor, 5 points for Mark, and nothing for SUFC. Brings the live totals, and yes, I have got the calculator out as we speak.
Hey.
Mark Wilson up to 239 points. Sees his gap joint over SUFC to 23 points. Victor Mean picks up 6 and actually jumps SUFC 21 points behind Mark Wilson going into this feature race. So all to play for when you think that there is a total of 31 points available for these drivers here tonight still remaining. Ignore that about the top 8 getting points. It is unfortunately only the top 6 AFL, despite his pains, does pick up the last, and a couple of retirees down the bottom. But if that's anything to go by, Lee, I think we're in for a great 36 laps and 45-ish minutes or so.
Yeah, I mean, there could be rain. No. All there is clouds. So you never know.
It's not a given. It's not a guarantee. It might be dry. It might be wet by the end. We'll have to wait and see. They are looking a little bit on the grey side, it must be said. Not exactly the pleasant summer Mexican day that you'd expect around about here. A little bit of moisture potentially in there could mix things up. Big style. We'll wait and see with that though, Lee. My big question is strategies. Who's going for the one stop? Who's going for the two stop?
Well, I have inside information, but unfortunately, I can't reveal it to you. But there's a mixture in strategies from what I've heard. Although, in my opinion, see the one stop, it's a weird because the hard tires are very durable, but their pace is they're very slow. So it's like, do you want to sacrifice the pace with durability, or the two stop? I reckon the faster guys will go for a two stop. The ones at the front. Maybe the guys who are towards the middle will try and go for a one stop to try and stick it. Obviously, with safety cars, know that you never know. Maybe going long would be good. But let's see if the tires or work the tires now. So most of the grid going for the hard tires. So it could be a hard, medium for them, which I wouldn't surprise me at all. But Trunders, Marshall, and Topher are mediums, and Ghost Angel 1 and Ben do off tires on soft. So a decent mix of strategies, but I reckon it would be hard, medium, or could be hard, medium. I don't know. That's the beauty of it. I'm just waffling.
Yeah, hard, medium, maybe even hard, medium, soft, or a hard, medium to the end. The soft runners maybe going for a soft, medium, soft, medium, hard even. A big thing that will come into it, well, there's the predicted pit stop strategy, lap 20 to 28. off the hards onto the mediums, and then you would have seen the other one there. I didn't quite catch it and remember it. Bit slow today, but there we have it. Yeah, it's really going to come down to not just if, but when there is safety cars. If, you know, they come out at ample time, it might be worthwhile jumping on, you know, the hard runners, just jumping on a set of mediums and taking them a little bit longer, or stretching out the hards for another set. It's all up in the early, and that is part of the pressure on these guys tonight, especially our championship contenders. There'll be a lot to think about. Probably looking into, I'm not going to comment on it much further after this. SFC seemed to have got an initial 3-second time penalty, so depending on how the rest of his thing go, he might be able to get the 3 seconds removed, which might seem jump up into the points, but we're going to assume that it is how it is the now. We're not going to take away anything from the steward.
It actually wouldn't, so it wouldn't, because he finished 7th, he didn't lose any positions, so I'm pretty sure it's to him it is. We'll see, look.
We'll wait and see. I think he might jump up to 6th if he gets it removed, but we'll wait and see. That's not for us to decide.
More shenanigans.
You always love it. You love to see it. Drivers forming up in the grid, not very well, it must be said. Ben, Ben having some issues, it looks.
A decent bit behind, but I know how we move.
Yeah, this is... It's something with Mexico and Tier 4 drivers not being able to do the formation lap quite well. We haven't had much luck in Tier 4 with the formation lap. First Hasbula last week, you know, running around riot from 14th in the grid. Then I'm doing it, running it slow this week on the first one, and now Ben, Ben looked to just genuinely be pirouetting there, but I'm not quite sure what the dealio is with that. But
let's go.
Yeah, he's going to be fired in. We're going to get racing once again. Brilliant angle then, looking over Victor Mean for the race start. The second one here tonight in Mexico. Feature race is about to get underway after 12 laps of the sprint. 36 laps ahead of us, 5 red lights, and away we go for the second time here in Mexico. SJFC already getting the jump on AFL. The front runners looking to get away decently. Spider Rob is having a little run down towards turn 1 on Mark Wilson, maybe looking round the outside, pulls it back a little bit, and Mark sweeps on in. But here comes Marshall down the inside. SJFC going for a little bit of an opportunistic move down the inside again into turn 2, and he's already up 3 positions.
There was a good bit of contact at the back. Hasbunga and me Murray, the main ones coming off first, but the front 2 got away good as you. SFC doing the best he could, I think, getting up in the P4. Great start from him, Rob in P3, but all relatively behaved well. Bless me.
I've blown away the cobwebs there. Yeah, pretty decent start, it must be said. A little bit argy-bargy, as Tony would say.
Victor Mean spun!
Not just spun, Lee. No front wing on that Mercedes.
I'm done with this curse and stuff. I just said he's had a great start, and he's... Oh my god.
He run 12 perfect laps in the sprint and the first one on the feature. That just shows you maybe one of the key differences, of course, here, Lee. Different tower compounds, yes, they mostly started on the medium, but they all started on the medium, some of them on the hards now. But also the fuel just will affect how the car behaves differently, and maybe just get his toe down a little bit too much, turn in too much. So it's going to be an early pit stop for Victor Mean on lap 1. And that'll really shake up his strategy, of course, as well. So Mark Wilson takes the race lead. 1.3, 1.4 clear of Spider Rob. And SUFC will be rubbing his hands together at this prospect.
Yeah, SUFC needs to try and get some points back. Mark Wilson 22 ahead of him against 5 points on in the sprint race. Actually having against him. He has a chance to Victor Mean. Well, I wouldn't say out of contention, because you never know what safety cars, but Mark Wilson at the moment, he's in a great position. His nearest championship rival is in last. As you see, he's in third. He's 1.7 clear. There's still 34 laps to go, so...
Yeah, it's not. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, as they say, Lee. Anything can happen between then and now. Marshall gets a move on AFL coming out of turn 11. AFL has a little look down the inside into 12, but decides I better not chance it down there, and has to settle in behind as we come through the lovely stadium section. Fun fact, Lee, used to be a baseball field.
sorry, turn towards you. Ben went for a move on Curly and sent him very wide.
A little bit of a push and pass, shall we say.
Argy-bargy, yep.
Yeah, you've always got the ERS push button to pass. Well, sometimes unintentionally you get more of a push than you bargained for, and it seems that what happened to SFC getting very close to the rear of Spider Rob. Then we're going to focus on this battle for a little bit. Rob holding the gap of about 1.4 to Mark Wilson. He's losing a little bit there through the first couple of corners, it seems, and SFC going to really have the try if he's going to make an attempt for the win for this race. Of course, anything can happen though, but we're going to assume green flag racing here, Lee. He's going to have to clear Rob and then try and get his toe down a little bit, try and get up within that 1 second, because the more of a cushion Mark has, the less he needs to push, the less he needs to worry, and we all know it's when you're pushing hard and trying to cut down the limits that the mistakes creep in.
Yeah, exactly. But remember before the race, me just speaking, Rob, you were so pessimistic about his chances. Up in P2.
That's very true. He did say, and I quote, "I'll be happy if I score a point." Well, he's done more than score a point. He scored 4 for his sprint race efforts, and he's looking to add to that. Like you say, P2 currently, as things stand, if it was, for some reason we decided, we'll just do 3 laps, that's us done and dusted, boys, he would be on the podium. Still plenty of time ahead. Trunders running a very successful weekend so far, it must be said. He's had a few battles here and there. He's had a decent showing in the sprint, and he's about to have a decent looking on AFL. The rear wing of the Williams wide open. AFL fighting back though, despite having the DRS disadvantage. But Trunders gets the move done, and you're going to see the power now of the double detection DRS. AFL isn't going to have that pull down at the second straight. Trunders is in that gap unless AFL decides to burn, baby. It's going to be, well, to be fair, it didn't grow by that much.
Yeah, what I'm noticing at the moment, HFC closed right up the back of the Rob on the first and second time. In that stadium section, on the last few laps, Rob wasn't able to get the HFC a bit more sluggish to there. So Rob, if he keeps doing that, it's okay, because I mean, it'd be quite close to make a move, even though you have that long straight with how this game is. Rob definitely picked up a one there for going wide, but he's only 1.3 behind Mark, so doing well. But HFC needs to try and keep with him through this final part here. I think he's falling back in the seat, coming through the save section.
Just touching on it. Yeah, Rob not really losing out much to Mark Wilson. He's keeping that gap pretty steady. So definitely don't count him out of this race at any point at all. And he has got a nice little train behind him as well. So these top 5 all look to be of a relatively similar pace, of course.
Yeah, I do agree with you there, but I'm stuck in race director. I was checking people's warnings. I went to see if Rob got one last week, and it's just something right. I have to even reach on. Give me a minute.
No worries, I'll keep the party going while you do so. Marshall then trying to pull up a little bit towards HFC, of course. HFC's going to have the DRS. Marshall got the DRS, and so it does Trundles. Rob doing very well to hold that position. We've all seen the quote-unquote Tier 1 trademark DRS trains. We've seen them a little bit more, starting to creep down in Tier 4, which you'd love to see as the quality and the grid improves. It really does sort of, the faster the grid and the more condensed the grid gets, the more of these trains goes. SUFC runs a little wide on the exit of turn 11, invites Marshall to have not just a look, but a move, and Marshall moves up into P3. SUFC settles back down into P5. He's been very quick at times, but just can't seem to make the moves himself, and when trying to do so, pushes a little bit too hard, and it's losing him not just time, but positions. He's now got Trunders. He's actually getting a very nice exit out of the final corner, the rundown up to the line. Both of them, of course, going to have DRS. Both of them on relatively similar ERS. Not much to them. A little bit of wheel barging there, but nothing too severely to worry about. Trundles on the inside, going to dive for the apex first. HFC trying to hang it around the outside to get the apex of the second one. And yellow flag because Rob has lost it through the first couple of corners on his own accord by all accounts. I don't know if there was any contact with Marshall, but it seems to be all clear, and that has only served to stretch out Mark Wilson's gap, and the front 4 separated out a little bit. I hope you're back in now, Lee, because
I am rolling in now.
To be fair, do you want to disappear again? Because the action really heated up there for a second.
Way.
Rob then has to settle back in for P6. He's got Duncan and Ben. Ben running a very, very solid race at this stage, despite having a poor sprint. He's up in P8 at the moment and chasing the new boy. And, well, speak of the devil, there you go. 3-second time penalty. I'm sorry, Ben, that one's kind of on me for spectating you.
We're back in now, so...
Good stuff. Back in and up and running. Hasbla picks up the second pen of this feature race. 3 seconds for him, currently down in P16 at the moment. Mark Wilson 1.7 clear, but that gap slowly coming down to the Ferrari of I Am Marshall. SGFC P3 1.3 adrift of the Ferrari, and he's got Trundos for close company. Ben. Trundos, of course, going to have the DRS. Ben getting very close to the sound, to the rear of Duncan by the sounds of things. Not able to make the move. Duncan having that DRS from Rob, of course.
Ben trying to get a switch back. He'll put on his overtake, I'll assume. I actually want this happen on lap or so. But Ben not doing too bad. HSC just falling out of DRS range with Marshall. I'll be hoping to get back into that soon. But Mark Wilson doing what he needs to do at the moment. Controlling it well. So doing well so far.
He is at 1.6 clear at the front, of course. He has got Marshall slowly cutting into that lead. Marshall, though, on the mediums versus Mark Wilson's hard. Big gain, though, from Marshall there. Whether that was a mistake from Mark or an almighty cut from Marshall, or he just absolutely aced the S's. One of the three. I like to hope he just aced the S's and, you know, put his toe down and really showed him what he's capable of, and he's very close to that DRS. And with this gap coming down, you'd expect him to get it very soon. Trundos has been very good exits on that last corner, Lee, and I think we're about to see another move lined up here.
Yeah, he's not using the DRS though, he's just gone pure DRS, and he's gaining with the slip machine. When I should see, he's going to go to the outside line. Trundos on the medium tires with the extra grip, he goes around the outside. Can he make it stick? Up the inside line for the next corner. It's a brilliant battle between these two. Trundos is forced to concede here, but Alvin only go over to a double DRS up into turn 4. Trundos now going to go for the inside line this time into turn 4. He goes down the inside of SGFC and he makes the move. Actually trying to hold it around the outside, but Trundos a very good move there and a very nice flip between those two.
You say that, there's a little bit of contact going into turn number 5. SGFC stuck his nose in very briefly. A little bit of coming together. Trundos almost losing the car, catching it nicely. And SGFC backing out and sort of realising the mistake and his errors there. And that has lost him a bit of time and invited Mr. Armani, AFL, into the battle for P3. Further back, Haswala swapping positions with Ghost Angel 1, who seems to have had a spun. And Marshall's a spun. He's had a spun. Marshall... still on at the 1.2 second gap to Mark Wilson's not able to gain anything this lap and not able to get in at that DRS, but what he has gained is an almighty 3.3 second gap to P3. These two starting to run away a little bit here.
HSC is really struggling at the moment here. He's just barely out on to DRS at Trundos and AFL will sure be going to move up on him the next lap or so. So HSC just needs to get. Obviously, he had a great start, but needs to just try and settle in now. He can't seem to get into the rhythm at the moment. He's struggling with it, but hopefully he can get him run soon. As DS Bacon makes the move on currently into turn 1 down the back end of the field. And the Haas is going to have a bit of a battle here. I think Ruban and Baker are going to have. We're going for DS Baker on the outside line of his teammate into turn 4. He'll make the move before the corner. Ruban will just 1-5 went by, and now DS Baker opened the 10th, but. A nice move from him there. As currently gone down the inside, pushes Ruben off track. I think hard but fair to there. Ruben going around the outside. Currently, oh my, very close to do that. But here we go again into the SX. Certainly not from Ruben. No, he thinks better of it. But we'll put a front. We'll see now. With this is a yellow flag. It's AFL. AFL in the spun coming out of the S section.
Losing it on the exit of turn 11, where we've seen SFC lose it a few times. Just losing it a bit more than AFL did, and he's going to join. That was very close between AFL and Curly. Curly, I've never seen a man with bigger elbows than Curly right now. He's really getting those things out and showing everybody else who's boss and taking no prisoners with it. BX37 Pro then, 9 laps on the softs, and he's into the pits. Probably hard to the end, do we think?
It could be medium, or it could be medium soft. I don't know, but I'm just curious. Where's the texture point? Because from what I could see on the rear in the gap, Marshall was definitely within the second, but he didn't get DRS. So I find very weird. I mean, it's just a game, so.
It's of course, remember the detection for the first two DRS. It's on the sort of the entry to the final corner, so he must have got a nice run through the finals corner. Maybe just been outside it at that point, and then he's gained it through the last corner.
See, but I reckon I'll definitely have it on the next straight though. He's right behind Mark Wilson. Only four tenths now. He just needs to keep it close to the stadium section. I think he'll have him quite easily into turn one. Mark Wilson struggling a little bit, or it's just at Marshall's pace. Mixture both of them into the same section now. Gap at around 0.6 of a second. We'll see. Mark Wilson will for a good exit off the final corner. Could stay inside curbing a little bit. That won't help it at all. Marshall will go for the move. He'll get a good exit. But Mark Wilson crucially has a lot more ERS than Marshall. Mark Wilson obviously 57%. Marshall only on about 30, but Marshall I think will stay behind for now. Or is he going for it here into turn one? He's gaining. He's gaining a lot, but I think he'll hold back for now into turn one. He might try and go for into turn four though. Let's see, through turn two and turn three. No, I think he'll hold back for now as Duncan is passed by the Rob. These two fighting into turn one. Rob going around the outside. Hold it in on the Williams there. Oh, very close contact into turn two with Duncan. Great movement up on the P5. So having a very good debut race so far from the Portuguese.
Yeah, the reserve in the Williams gets up into P5. Rob might feel a little bit hard done by there. I don't know if there was much in it. Duncan maybe could have left a little bit more room, but it is how it is. And the two of them still in this race and still running. That is the main thing. Marshall then will keep an eye on him as once again coming through the S's. He seems to get a nice run through those S's every single lap, and that sets up. If it was a longer DRS straight, you'd really fancy him to make a couple of moves down here over the course of the evening, but of course a nice short one as Rob adds to his misery. 3 seconds for him through the little stadium section. Then it's just about 0.6, half a second between the front two, and here we go once again. Deja vu, folks. Is Marshall gonna get the move done using a little bit of that boost, turning it off at the higher gears? Very, very clever, of course. Just conserving that at the higher revs. He is getting close, but not going to be close enough into turn one. Yellow flags for I believe Moody down through the pack, and he might have a run now into turn four. The Spider Rob retakes P5 from the Williams of Duncan. Marshall getting close, but not quite close enough, but almost too close. Just about catches it in time, and that was almost a huge coming together. And what drama that would have been in the championship fight, Lee.
Yeah, it would have been big drama with Marshall trying to hold on. I mean, at the moment, he's really the only hope SFC and Victor Mean have, because Mark Wilson just seems to have the edge on us two at the moment, but what's going to happen is Ben is retired in the pits, so that won't be a safety car. Marshall gaining again. He's only 3 tenths behind this time. Going into the stadium section here, I'll be hoping to try and get a good run this time. But obviously, crucially, Mark has a lot more ERS to use than the Ferrari, but going to the stadium section, he's a lot closer than what he has been. So he's getting a good exit, and he might have to move to turn one. Mark Wilson not getting the greatest of exits at the final corner, and now surely Marshall will have a go in the turn one he's using. And we'll see if he goes for the move here, Scott.
It looks like he is. He's starting to derate, of course, 6% battery here, but he's going to get the move done with the ERS and DRS, and crucially, he's going to get DRS on the run down to turn 4 now. Mark will have that 40% battery to use, and he will get DRS from the next detection unless he somehow pulls off a miraculous move to retake here, but Marshall can get that that rear wing wide open, and try and pull a little bit of a gap. And we have seen that he's looked pretty quick through the S's, so this could be his chance to try and break that DRS. Of course, he's only got a sector to do it before the next DRS zone, so it's going to be a tall ask, but 6 tenths of gap already. I wonder if Marshall, maybe it is a combination, the mediums are 12 laps, but I wonder if Marshall's just running a little bit on the higher side of the downforce. I would definitely say so by those games.
I think so. He's cleared the DRS.
I think Mark will, maybe not.
Mark Wilson. I'm
surprised at that, because the detection is towards the start of the S section. I think it must have just been on the limit, and I think he's just going to be outside the limit once again. But that's not going to matter.
Well, and that's caused a safety car. Oh my word! And Mark Wilson couldn't pit, and he will be behind the safety car. He is. Is he behind the safety car? He is. Oh, that's awful for Mark Wilson. Not really though. It's great for the medium runners, but Mark Wilson hasn't come off too bad from that. I don't know. Has he? I mean, his gap.
I'd say if personally, I'm not sure why.
Everyone's pitting.
Yeah, I would think everybody should be in the pits here. Medium runners can obviously go hard to the end. The hard runners, if they've got two sets of mediums, you can go on a set of mediums and then go another set of mediums. Yes, the hard runners are going to go to the end, but you're looking at Mark Wilson, the guys with the pace that have got the victory, like SUFC there. He's trying to march Mark Wilson here. That's what I predict is happening. Trundles is in a great position. Marshall's in a great position. Even Spider Rob, you know, P5 on the mediums. Yes, the mediums are going to struggle to do 22 laps to the end, but they're going to take him well into this race. He can maybe put a set of softs on later on, or another set of mediums. And he knows that the front two have got the pit again.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Mark Wilson is a bit all over the shop at the moment. Him and SUC may cut up. Thankfully, this isn't like the last two games, so you don't get a penalty instantly for just crashing into someone when it's not your fault. So at least they've improved some. Good job, EA.
Yeah, we're slowly getting there. Of course, a bit of news to come, hopefully, in the coming weeks. And there may be a little bit of something in the coming months or so. Of course, we've only got a few weeks left of this glorious Season 8 of Cohen. We normally do something between the game cycles. Now, I'm not going to, say anything, but there has been some minor early discussions there, and there hopefully should be something. Don't expect it next week, put it this way, but there'll be something. At the very least, some sort of community organised thing between the sessions, and then hopefully Season 9 will get kicking on the new game when it's all fresh. As Topher nearly makes contact with the rear of DS Baker. That's just one of those random moments you catch when you're spectating somebody for the sake of it. But big news if your name is Victor Meanness. He's back on his hards that he started with, and to be fair, he can probably stretch them out to the end. Remember when he did about 3/4 of a lap on them. He knows his two championship rivals, yes, they're at the front, but they've got fresh tyres behind them who are going to be pressuring them. We know the pace that Trundles and Marshalls had, as well as a number of others throughout that field. He go to the end. Yes, he's got a lot of cars that could... Well, to be fair, he hasn't really. You look at everybody in front of him, they're on mediums who struggle to go to the end, and the softs, so if you pull the softs to the end, that'll be mental.
No, yeah, that's definitely going to... Also, wait a minute. If he stays long enough, safety car's a bit of a factor as well. So he's not... That's probably all I say. Stick around. Don't retire after that first offense.
Oh, never.
It looks very doom and gloom, but this is the beauty of racing. Don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, take spoiler roll for Brazil, an example. I think being lapped down and going to get a podium. Wait, was it a podium or a win? I can't remember exactly.
It was a P2, yeah, from being a lap down.
Which just proves, I mean, we preach it then, we're preaching it now, just never give up on a race, especially if you're in a championship fight.
Oh, absolutely, because even if you could be 4 laps down, but 5 laps from the end, 3 or 4 cars could retire. You could somehow pull home and end up maybe P11 because there's that many retirements, or other people have gave up. Yeah, you're 4 laps down, but you still got 2 points, and lo and behold, you win the championship by a point. That tends to be how things work out. In this lap, yeah, me and Moody catching up, so we are going to get back on the racing here on lap 16. Mark Wilson then is going to set the pace for the field. Hopefully it all comes together. It is can be quite a tricky restart when it calls it late. It is into the pit, so he can go from any point now, and away he goes, back under green flag racing. Lap 16 out of 36, Lee. And this is where things start to get spicy. Front two on their starting hards, the rest of the pack on new tyres. Topher having a run on DS Baker for what is P6 at the moment, potentially net P4.
Yeah, well, there's a goofy battle going into turn 1 here. In the midfield, Baker and Duncan find Duncan trying to get a switchback on him. Can't get him, no, but up with the front. Trundles is going to go for move one SUC holds back. Yeah, they all behaved quite well in the restart again, which is good.
Yeah, I did see a Red Bull going a little bit AWOL, shall we say, into turn 1. It looked to be Curly maybe just misjudging the cars in front, and does well to get out as AFL has a spin on the exit of turn number 8, I believe it is. And that is going to lose. It's not going to lose him. Well, it is going to lose him positions, but it's more going to lose him time and touch with the field.
On SFC made a mistake at the S6. Trunder's going to go down there, so SFC really shouldn't fight him too much. He knows to be faster, and they actually be hoping to get after Mark Wilson. But Trunder's some great paces are always almost loses. I've almost cursed him again. I need to stop. He's had some great pace so far this race, so you just need to keep him at the moment. That safety car has spiced this race up a lot, I think.
It certainly has, yeah. Trunder's shown some great pace over the course of the qualifying sprint and again this feature. He's on a good strategy as it is at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on his race going forward, and definitely one, all things going well, to be up near the front. I think Ghost Danger 1 swapping with Mean Moody, Murphy swapping with Wuban, and this front pack, it's an interesting dynamic here. You look at this front pack, Lee, you know, the top 9, you've got the old hard runners and then the new hard runners at the top, and then it's a sort of mix of mostly, you know, aside from Duncan, it's medium, then softs as Marshall and Baker seemed, I don't know if that was a joint spin or it looked as if there must have been contact there, as that could be almost an unsafe rejoin as well. That's
Victor Means had a restart of his life. Up in the 9th already. He's only, at the moment, he's only 6 seconds off the lead. He's having a great restart at the moment. But yeah, I didn't see it. I thought that was contact, because I'm pretty sure one of them was wing damage, but I'm not too sure.
I think it was maybe, you know, one of the cars behind Marshall tagged him, and sort of in reaction there was maybe a little bit of a panic from the other ones behind him, and Baker got tagged. Victor Mean, you're just touching on there, you know, P9, and bear in mind that pretty much P8 to P4 are going to have to pit again. SUFC and Mark Wilson have to pit. So
theoretically, right, everyone pits, he keeps up, he's in FP2, and obviously there's a lot more things to go, but theoretically, we're halfway through the race he's in FP2, so a very good draw for him. But runners, not being able to get Mark Wilson this lap, but with the DRS next lap, he should easily surpass him, I think.
Yeah, it should be an easy run for the fresh hards versus the older hards, especially like you say once that DRS kicks in. I'm just going to get we haven't done it yet tonight. A little shout out to our chat. Danielle, always here, ever present. Good luck, Mark. And then later on saying to us, please don't cuss, Mark. Spider Rob asking, can you get an interview for the podium, the sprint podium winner? You never know, you might even make it on at the end of this race, Rob. We'll wait and see as Wuban has had a spin through the end of, or the start of the second sector.
Another
safety car.
Well, Vic, that's interesting, because what the hard tires pay for medium. You know, I think mediums make it again, I'm not sure though. But what did the medium runners do? I wonder now. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think Mark Wilson will pit. Mark Wilson pits, he'll still be quite far behind. I don't know, it's a weird one. Let's see, Mark Wilson into the pits as you'd expect. Trunders will stay out. HFC into the pits, I reckon Topher stays out. I think most of these guys are staying out. I think you kind of have to though, but Mark Wilson and SFC into the pits, they're going to a new set of medium tires. Victor Mean will be up into P6 and ahead of those guys. So, let's see here, coming into, onto medium tires for those guys, no surprises there. But they are quite a way down, so everyone probably have to be, actually I wonder, because I'm not sure, I didn't do anything to the tyre research, so I'm not sure how long tires can go. But, down in P11 and 12, they have a lot of ground to go, and these guys at the front, they won't pit for a while. The soft runners, yes. Medium ones are not going to pit until towards the end of the race, but the rate of safety car is going, at the moment. There probably will be another one. So, it looks all great, but they have a moment to go to Victor Mean, Marshall, and Trunders. So Victor Mean's race, although it looks like, you know, those guys on the fast tires, Victor Mean's race has turned from bad to quite good here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, tyre strategies here, it's a nice little mix. Trunders, Victor Mean, Marshall, like you say, easy going to make it to the end. The rest of the medium runners there that are on like those 5 lap mediums, so Moody, Curley, Moody, I keep getting them mixed up, Murphy, well it is Curley as well, and Rob, it's going to be 50-50. I think they could take them to the end if their tyre management's alright, but those tyres are going to be screaming, those lap times are going to be disgustingly slow, and the grip is just not going to be there, and low grip, more mistakes, more chance to get penalised, more chance to to make collisions, so it could be a bit of a gamble. Mark Wilson, HFC, AFL and DS Baker fresh mediums should I think just having them fresh, they'll be able to stretch them out to the end. It is quite a high tyre wear and quite a high temperature track here, of course, so that might play into things. Topher and Hasbulla, interesting decision by those two, sticking it out on the softs. I suppose they're hoping for another safety car. Of course, they're going to save tyre life here and can stretch them a little bit, but I would have thought the safer play, if you've got them, of course, fresh mediums or even, you know, a couple of lap old hards, whatever maybe the best option was. So maybe they're just saying we've got nothing much to lose, let's roll the dice and see what happens. Back to the chat, I was halfway through doing that. Big Ben saying B, just BE. I'm not quite sure what you mean there, Ben. I think you maybe missed a few letters and words out of that sentence. If you are still here, let us know what you're trying to say, because you boggled me, mate. Reese Allen Jones, who I believe is Victor Mean, says a little abbreviation, which I'm not gonna delve into, but it's a happy one, and my favourite, everybody's favourite Yorkshireman. No, it's not Tony, it's Mr. Philip McConey saying evening Scotch egg. Evening to you, Phil. Hope you're doing great, mate. Hope you're enjoying the action tonight in Tier 4. If you want to see the likes of McConey, of course, we'll be back here on Thursday night. Lee, you'll be taken to the track. So hopefully you've learned a thing or two from these guys tonight as the safety car is going to come in.
Always do. I mean, and I don't point on being here if I don't learn something, right?
Well, to be fair, there isn't, you know, I was going to say there isn't much room for improvement, but if anybody's watched Tier 1 this season, oh, you know there is. Safety car, yeah, Hasbulla just caught the back of Spider Rob. Hasbulla really kind of stopped starting here on his restart, it must be said. Yep, Trondos has restarted us. Lap 21 out of 36, and it will be 16 laps to the end. Now Spider Rob having a rundown on Topher into turn 1 on this restart. 7 lap old mediums versus 7 lap old softs, and he doesn't quite get in a move to get it, but Topher goes deep, opens up the move for Rob, and Rob is through to P2. Mark Wilson gets past Ghost Angel 1 further down. We'll keep an eye on him and SUFCs to try and make their way through the field, of course, but another relatively incident-free restart, Lee.
Yeah, it's good to see, Trundle's doing well. Mark Wilson is getting past the first car they need to get past. Obviously, there may go is Victor Mean, who's currently in 6th place, so they're not going to get to him. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens. They still have quite a few cars to get to. And who knows what safety car, VSC, whatever shenanigans are going to happen between now and 15 laps time.
Well, if you think about this, we've had 2 safety cars in 21 laps. We had 1 in 12 laps of the sprint race. So we're averaging a safety car, and speaking of that, Wiban out through the S's. Another one I was about to say, we're averaging a safety car every 10 or so laps. Well, that's 4 in what is effectively 33. So that average is coming down. We can probably, at this rate, expect another 3, maybe 2.5, maybe a virtual. But it will be the third one of the night.
I think there's a limit on them. Someone has brought it into the pits. Victor Mean out in the P5.
Yeah, there is a limit of 5 in a single race event, so we're on 3 here for this feature race, Lee. So we've still got 2 more to use. Might as well get a limit in.
Yeah, but this is good for the medium runners who haven't pitted, because with this many safety cars, now it's a long shot, but we've seen stranger things, right, happen. So you never know. Also, I'm just thinking, boys, it's nearly 9:30. It's my bedtime soon. What are you doing? It's 14 laps to go here.
It's a sprint weekly. They take a little bit longer. Just wait till we do sprint around Singapore next season. That's the real long haul.
You're funny. I will be ill for that whole time.
You're ill most of the time for Tier 4 this season, let's be honest. But
no,
a little bit of a low blow.
I'm a busy man, thank you very much, Scott.
Back to the race then, very, very quickly. Yeah, like you're saying, the medium runners, good for them. Spider Rob, Curly, Murphy, Mean, Moody in particular. 8 laps on these mediums. it's less tyre wear, it's less energy, it's less heat going through. It's going to preserve that, and it's going to make it easier getting to the end for them. Topher is, well, he's on his own road, it must be said. 8-lap old softs, of course, they've only raced for about 3, so they're going to have a little bit of life in them, but it's Mexico. It's deadly on the tyres at times, particularly those softer compounds. They really do cure and harden up and just lose all temperature and all grip pretty quickly. So it's we'll wait and see how Mr. Topher's race develops going forward. But I would say the majority of the field, aside from him and I was going to say Duncan, but Duncan should be able to stretch out those 13-lap-old hards to the end, unless, of course, he's pit to replace a front wing and he's going to pit again. We'll wait and see with that, but we should be a clear run to the end. Trundle's then leading the race ahead of Rob. You've got Topher, who will definitely need to pit again ahead of Curly. Victor Mean, the first of our title contenders, currently sits in P5 despite that first lap spin, the first lap wing change. And then Mark Wilson and SUFC maybe getting caught out a little bit by the safety cars P9 and P10 respectively. Of course, fresher mediums for them versus the cars in front. Dalton is into the pit again. We'll see what he jumps on. Probably another set of mediums to take him. Yes, it is 7-lap-old mediums. Yeah, they should make it to the end, to be fair. A little bit tight, but should be alright. But yeah, Mark Wilson, SUFC, these are going to be some key 10 or so laps for their championship battle going forward, because not only do they have the make positions, they have to make the positions incident free without getting mixed up in anything silly, without getting mixed up with anything that might bring the steward's eye on them and add to a penalty list and push them back down the grid.
And a penalty point list, you never know. But Duncan, see, that's the other thing. But also, the amount of safety cars are also expiring times. Like, you think that Mark Rosen actually should have the pace. The amount of safety cars, they're running out of time. Get past these guys. At the moment, theoretically, Topher has to pit, Rob has a penalty, Victor Mean is in theoretical P3. And these guys at the moment are in a theoretical P5 and P6. So, you know, it's all about time, really. And it'll be in next episode. We'll have 11 laps to go by the time safety car comes in. If you have 2 more safety cars, that's about 16 laps gone. So theoretically, no, but 6, 5, or whatever. So half of the race distance could be gone in safety cars if we get to our maximum. So, and they have to make these overtakes quick and clean.
Absolutely, you have to pick your point, make them happen, make them safe, and get your toe down while you can, because, like you say, racing green flag laps, well, they've not been common here in this feature race, and they're not always a guarantee going forward. Just a little bit on the penalty points, I'm just having a look, and to be fair, the biggest penalty point sitter we have is Ghost Angel 1 on 8, Trunders and DS Baker on 6, but you know, our championship contenders, Mark Wilson on 2, SFC on squeaky clean 0, and Victor Mean on 2 as well. So we need to have an almighty sort of bad couple of weeks. 14 PP for a race ban, 18 for a potential look at the removal of seat. So, you know, I don't see that happening, but yeah, stranger things have happened. But again, it's all on the night. You could finish P6 and suddenly the stewards hit you because you've been involved with 2 or 3 incidents and you're 10, 15, maybe even more seconds worth of pens. I've seen it before. People have great races on track and then it gets to the steward in office and it's bang, 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 bang reports because they've pushed their way through the field. So it's about striking that balance. Should be back to safety car in this lap. Yes, green flag racing, lap 25. That will leave us 12 laps in total to go to the end of this race. Yeah, see, it's always a common mistake. You think 25 up to 36 is 11, but you've got to include 25 as well. There was 11 after the end of 25.
I'm fine, that's my excuse.
See, this is what a number of seasons in the commentary game does to you, Lee. Quick maths on that, you know. Not much I don't know or don't miss. Trundles then is going to get his back racing underway for about the 900th time here tonight, and it might not even be the last. Spider Rob chasing Topher, Curly, Victor Mean, Marshall, Murphy and Mean Moody, who's having a look on the McLaren of Murphy down into turn 1. And then the two championship battlers, of course, or two of the championship battles, it must be said, following them behind. We'll keep an eye on them as this race goes on. Try and spread out the action, of course, because who knows, they might not even make it to the front. Mark having a look at Mean Moody then down into turn 4. He takes to the inside of the Mercedes and looks to have got the move done nice and easy.
Yeah, HFC trying to follow Mark Wilson if he can, and that could be crucial. Let's do the S section now. The old tires and Mean Moody won't be as fast, and they could come away. HFC need to get that move if he can. This thing, HFC, he needs to try and follow as he's got the penalty. Oh dear.
That is definitely not going to do him any favours once we cross the start-finish line. We've seen it, of course, in the sprint race, getting that instant one, and it's folding through into this, and that's going to add to the 1.6 second gap to Mark Wilson.
Mark Wilson around the outside into the save section. He keeps just on track. Oh, very close battle here. Murphy with a great move, holds on. But yeah, Murphy went wide. Mark was trying to go for it. Just, he needs to be a bit patient and have the substream here. But Murphy with a great ERS. Mark Wilson might have to hold back for another lap and wait for the ERS to come. But yeah, they're making their way through relatively quickly, but not too quickly at the moment. But up at the front, they might get a bit spicy between Curly, Victor Mean, and Topher. Oh, Victor Mean hit the back of Curly. As I was saying, I don't think he got damage. No, he didn't, thankfully. He's all okay, but that was very, very close.
Front wing looks to be intact. There might be some minor damage there, of course, which on a track like Mexico could be a little bit of a hamperance, but I think he's got away with that pretty easily. AFL jumps Mean Moody, as has SUFC up into P9. Of course, 3 second time penalty for them is really going to potentially cost him a place 2, maybe even 3 towards the end of this race. And Topher, it must be said.
Victor Mean made a mistake. Sorry to both of you, made a mistake. Marshall going for the move into the outside, the same section. Victor Mean backs out. No, he backs out knowing that that's the smart thing to for. Murphy goes wide. Mark Wilson trying to go for the move on the outside again here. If he makes his move, he'll be right behind Championship Royal. He gets the move this time. Oh, Murphy, very good save from the veteran here. As actually see, going to barge his way through. It's a barge move. I think it was clean, but they're still side by side. I can't keep up those action at the moment, Scott. Murphy and SGFC it'll be a drag race now. DRS is name it, but it won't be on until the next lap. Murphy gets past SGFC and we'll keep that position. But now the two championship contenders are right behind each other. But this battle for the podium is going to spice up a lot, I think. But the front two have gone. It is fair to say.
Yeah, Topher doing a great job on those older softs. His pace obviously is really going to hit a cliff pretty soon here, but he's acting as a little bit of a bottleneck. Victor Mean has a look around the outside of Marshall into turn 4, comes inside into turn 5. Here comes Mark Wilson though out of nowhere into turn 6. The two championship rivals side by side. Mark Wilson gonna near enough get the move done, but he has to fall back in behind before the turn of 7 into the S's. Cuts up very close to getting a warning, does Mark. But what a battle that was. What a move. 3 wide through the second sector. Victor Mean picks up a 3 second time penalty and joins FCSC in that advantage. Mark Wilson.
Inside. He's just got the corner, but he let him back through. That's okay. But oh my word, this is chaotic at the moment. Oh, Mark Wilson, Jesus. Murphy's round. I can't get. What's happening?
It's all kicking off here. That looked as if Topher into the pits. That looked as if Curly had a little moment. Victor Mean had the lit up. Mark Wilson had the lit up, and it all just kind of concertina together. It was almost like one of those old squeeze boxes or accordion. Two more educated people. Victor Mean going for a move down the outside into turn 1, taking to the left hand side of the track. And this is Curly squeezes a little bit. Mark Wilson seems to be having some sort of connection issue almost. It looks to be alright to race, but jiggling about all over the place. Down to turn 4 with the DRS. The Volvent DRS here. 3 wide almost into turn 4. Mark Wilson picks up a 3 second penalty, trying to go past the two of them. Victor Mean gets the move, gets ahead. Mark Wilson follows suit through. Curly trying his best to help his teammate there. He's now got his brother of Marshall behind, and this train runs all the way from P3 down to P11. And look at those penalty symbols, Lee. Curly and Trundles and Topher, the only ones not to have them so far.
I've vaulted empty, but I'm lost the battle in front of. They all have no ERS. It'd be a drag race. Oh, Mark Wilson! Oh my, the lag is just made me. Yeah. I got Mark Wilson. Hopefully, it's in the solid stuff. It had a lag spike in the middle of the race, but it fixed itself. Hopefully, it will fix itself now as he goes. He's going for the move. He's using his ERS on the exit.
Yellow flag sector 3 looks to be Murphy. He's alright to be fair. I was thinking, are we going to see the return of Bert? But yeah, Mark having a little look. He's burning that ERS as a Victor Mean. They're side by side through the first few corners. Wheels barging.
Wheel banging. Oh, Victor Mean holds on, but Mark Wilson another dose of the ERS down into turn 4. We'll see now. We make a dive into turn 4. He's gaining. He is close enough to send it right outside. No, he thinks better of it though. Victor Mean goes deep. Mark Wilson with a switchback. Oh, there's contact. Mark Wilson makes the move. And is overtaking Victor Mean. Mistakes costing Victor Mean here, but there's contact. But he holds on for now. Victor Mean trying to go for a switchback. Oh my god, Victor Mean's got him again.
This is scintillating stuff. And this is them racing with lag. Mark Wilson lagging a little bit. That must be said. He's been shaking about a little bit the whole race, but now it's starting to get a little bit tricky maybe for the other drivers. Hopefully not affecting the racing too much as Victor maybe squeezes him a little bit.
I don't think he could tell though. That's the weird thing. Well, that's the thing though.
I think it is. Yeah, a few of these incidents are maybe having the lag creep on in and make things difficult for each other. HSC's in that gaggle of cars as well. Curly has lost a bit of time. Here comes Marshall on the brothers fighting it out. You've seen the Booth brothers fight in Tier 1. Well, here's the more civilised brothers, some may say, going down into turn 1. That Red Bull of Mark Wilson sliding across the track into turn 1. HFC tries to get past the AFL, does get past the AFL, and is going to try and hunt down those in front.
Again.
Mark having another little run at Victor now. And you've got to say, I mean, as good as this action is, it's not as good unless you're in the front two. Spider Rob and Trundles will be licking their chops seeing these battles go on and those gaps extend out front. This is incredible. Comments there, McConey.
Oh, that could be huge.
That could have massive ramifications.
Oh, Curly's out.
And that is probably going to be a safety car.
It is. Burt Mangan is back out for one last time just to tease us. Mark Wilson, that is awful for him because everyone wants to see. He has 6 seconds. Marshall has 3. SSC has 3. AFL has 3. He could fall down to P7 here. And Victor Mean at the moment, he pits. What? That's interesting. Very interesting.
That is a bold call.
Rob's in as well. Maybe their tyres wouldn't have made it to the end. Victor Mean Victor Mean has damage.
So he must have got damage during that. That explains why he's been struggling so much. But to be fair, the way he's been battling with damage,
I don't know why Rob did. I guess those soft tires versus all mediums and all hards are going to be so much quicker. It would be actually disgusting. And racing should get underway at the end of 33, so we should have 4 laps of racing. On fresh soft tires against the old hards and mediums, you can make that work.
Yeah, we should get racing, like you say, lap 33, 4 laps, so they can really put their toe down here versus, you know, approaching the 20, you know, and the mid-teens and the mediums and the hards. They're getting towards the end of their life cycle.
We need to breathe.
Got on here.
We need to breathe.
It's been a welcome change. I'm just going to catch up with the comments here. McConey saying spicy, Panda saying Danielle must be watching Netflix, and then
this is premium stuff right here. Was
Danielle saying she's been turning off everything with Wi-Fi on it. That is that's the kind of commitment you want from your partner. You're in the battle for the championship. You're lagging about a little bit. Get everything off. Victor Mean saying his wing was gubbed, which is a Scottish term for saying pretty much knackered. And then Panda just backing up what I'm saying. Wish my missus was that good. Now that's a shame to Mrs. Panda.
I've just seen what you say. still don't understand it about pausing online games.
I can't pause online games. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've all been there, Panda. We've all been there. Daniel saying she'll once mark to win this championship more than he does, and Rob saying tires were dead, and he still wants an interview.
You might get it. You never, Scott. After the last 5 or 6 laps, I'm not going to predict anything here. We don't have a bloody clue what's going to happen. It'll be in this lap. Safety car will be in this lap.
It will be in this lap, yep. 4 laps left to go. And I'm just going to make the call here now. Rob's going to get an interview, and purely because when I finished P13 in Singapore, I asked for it and just basically said, I'm coming for an interview, and I got one. And he was my interviewer, so I'm going to return the favour.
You know, we're going to spinge because you said that now, right?
Oh, yeah, probably. I took away all the sort of, you know, the motivation, shall we say.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing to note, he obviously got Trundles run a very good race. He's at the front. He's got a lot of, you know, fresher tyres or softer tyre compounds behind him. But he's the only one without a pen, aside from Topher. Now, Topher has been the wild card this whole race, Lee. He has played his own game. He has chose his own strategy. And
it could work wonders.
It could work out absolutely magic when those 3 and 6 seconds are added on. If he can keep it safe and keep it in the group. Safety car in this lap for what is, I believe, the 5th time, the 6th time of this feature race.
Oh yeah, well no, if you go to sprint race, it's 6 times I think.
Yeah, it's going to be another restart. We've got a 4-lap sprint, which means, Lee, we're going to have 2 laps, well, technically, with this circuit, 1.5 laps of DRS, so that ended is going to be incredibly spicy. Trundles is going to get us racing once again, and away he goes.
That's his 3rd restart lead, and in another reserve. We'll see how the soft runners can do. I think Marshall's too far behind Mark Rose, but we'll see if the turn 1 is a bit too far. But the soft runners, I want to see Rob going for it on Baker. He's not waiting around at all, not one bit. Victor Mean down 10th. It looks so good for him. It really did, but we'll see what happens there. Mark Wilson, a little bit behind Trundles as we go into turn 3. Rob, next up for him is Hasbull in P5. As AFL is going to go for him on Baker. Baker won't be able to fight it too much, I think.
AFL just soaring past. You can see just getting the better exit. Victor Mean just caught in the background. Went for a move, and Duncan has lost. That's just almost desperation creeping in there for Victor trying to get up through the field, and he's lost a whole host of time and is right down now at the back. You've seen him having a little dive down into turn 4, and it could be all slipping away from him. Topher isn't going to have the magical rise at the end because he does pick up a 3-second time penalty.
Trundles is the lone dog, but Mark Ross at the moment he's pushing. He would finish in currently. My math, he'd finish in.
Get the abacus out.
P4. So his aim would be to beat SFC on track. So he has 2 laps to do it. I'll try and do my best with the math. Around 2.5, I think, at the moment. Something like 2.5. It's on the edge. Very on the edge.
Yeah, so the gap between the two of them at the moment is 1.8 seconds, of course. Mark Wilson, 6 seconds of penalties. SUFC 3. SUFC? Yeah, that is it. Yeah, sorry, I thought I mucked that up. So he needs to get that 3-second gap over SUFC to take a points advantage over him. Victor Mean has got a 5-second penalty as well, I've just noticed.
Baker and Murphy, I think,
sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. But yeah, Victor Mean's race coming all unraveled. I wonder if he'll look back at that decision to pit, despite how obviously had the wing damage, but maybe he could have kept in.
He was doing quite wrong even with the wing damage. At least that was my thing, anyway. He was still fighting, but the gap is on the edge of 3 seconds. Right on the edge.
Spider Rob, that was an interesting. I don't know what quite happened there. Dalton had a spin maybe in reaction to that. Rob took sort of a really weird line, mucked it up, and almost parked it on the apex off the track. And AFL sneaks on through. Dalton has a spin, and DRS now enabled, Lee.
SFC needs to stay. He needs to stay in Marshall's DRS. He wants any chance to get him beating Mark Wilson, because Mark Wilson will definitely have DRS in front of him. Those two battles could be a good thing for him, but also Mark Wilson just eases past him as DRS will be about him enough to wait and see though as he going out on the run to the full. Mark Wilson trying to get a better exit. The gap is around 2.1, 2.2. I'm not going to try and do math, I'm very bad at it, so just see what happens. Victor, me another penalty, that he only had a slight chance to shoot enough positions, even with 3 seconds, and that's definitely gone now.
Yeah, it's been a night to forget for the Scotsman. Went into this race in P3 in the championship, jumped up to P2 after the sprint provisionally. Yeah, it's been a night to forget. Just a little thing. Do you want to address it before there's any more? We've seen how heated the comments can get in these streams sometimes, Lee. Drivers can report for glitching of cars. It is investigated, of course, and it's not something as me and Moody has an almighty tussle. There's a massive tussle going on here. Topher's been spun by the 2 Mercedes. Victor Mean's race is going from bad to worse as they get mixed up. Mark Wilson chasing down the leader of Trundles on this final lap with the help of the DRS. Side by side through turn 1, side by side through turn 2, and Mark gets ahead into turn 3. I wonder for a second there if the curbs might come to bite him. It has maybe affected his exit a little bit despite having the DRS. Trundles might have a look, but he knows he doesn't need to make this move on track.
I won the last lap, I didn't even realise.
Yeah, it's came in quick, and just to finish up, it is investigated on a case-by-case basis, but there is no immediate penalty for it, unless it's something severe and it's caused absolute carnage. If somebody has a little dip in connection, let's just be honest, telecommunication companies, they're not the best of our friends, are they? They have their little dips and doubts. If it's a common thing that's reported week in, week out, then that's when it becomes an issue, and drivers are asked to prove that they can have the connection, but that's the last I'm saying it, because...
Here we go, into the save section. Trunders, but Mark wasn't on track, but Trunders, we haven't spoken about much, we spoke about the championship. A flawless race from here. We ran the final corner, Mark Wilson will cross the line first. On track, but Trunders will win the race here in Mexico. And SGFC will get Mark Wilson. AFL just missing out.
700s missing out on the P4. Haswell comes home P6 ahead of Spider Rob. Mean Moody in P8, Duncan in P9, Ghost Angel 1 jumps up to P9 though as Topher jumps up to 10. Victor Mean does bring home some points provisionally. That is going to be the race.
It's not a great day, but the SGFC, see, Mark Wilson should be too angry because he still gained more points, obviously, with the sprint race. He's still at a net win from this race in terms of 3 times at Royal. So Mark Wilson, with next week in Jeddah and then Belgium, he is the favourite. But it's Jeddah next week. If this race was killed, I don't even want to know what Jeddah's going to be like, to put it bluntly.
Yeah, Jeddah will be an interesting one. It certainly will be. It always provides good race and it always provides good entertainment, so we'll look forward to that. There we go, we're finally getting the podium celebrations. I wonder, has it glitched out a little bit there? It is going to be Trundles takes victory here tonight. I believe it is in fact his first win of the season. He's had a couple of P2s, but he's never took the top stop of the podium, post-Sturden at least. That might be a little bit different when you look back at the sort of finish up of the race itself before Sturden, but he is going to take the pre-race win as things are. Let's just skip past the weekend results and get straight to the feature race results. There's the sprint once again. If it'll... Oh, there we go. I have to click advance. There we go. So there is your feature race results. Trundles takes the win ahead of Marshall and SUFC. Mark Wilson has to settle for P4. P4 gets him 17 points, plus the 5 he got in the sprint. 22 points for him so far. SUFC, of course, get nothing in the sprint. P3 though gets him 20. So Mark Wilson does take a 2-point advantage going into the next race over his gap before. Victor Mean, of course, got 6 in the sprint race, plus 2 gives him a total of 8 points from the season.
For him. But look, we've seen. I mean, a few rounds ago, SFC was nailed on to win championship, and then Mark Wilson is nailed on to win. You just don't know. But remind me who's on podium again? It was Trunders,
Marshall, and SUFC.
I'm inviting Rob for an interview as well.
Yeah, might as well get him in. So, I've got the calculator out, or the Excel sheet, as if we're being more honest, and of course, these results are all provisional. Do not take them as the be-all and end-all. These will be out later on in the server and on Twitter, of course, once Stirling's complete tomorrow night, and then everything's finalised and the appeals process is all done and by way. So you can expect the final results, of course, and the final standards later on in the week. But I'll give you a little insight as things stand. Mark Wilson, 22 points tonight, sees him jump up to 256 total. SUFC will keep P2 in the standings, but his gap rises from 18 to 20. He will be on 236 after picking up them 20 points from the feature race tonight. And Victor Mean, all ahead of him to do, 36 points adrift now, provisionally from Mark Wilson on 220 after only picking up 8 tonight. However, there is still 62 points available in total. 31 next week in Jeddah for the race win and, of course, fastest lap. And then the same again when we head to Belgium for the finale in 2 weeks' time. So it is by no means over. Victor Mean is still in with a chance. It's an outsider chance, it must be said provisionally, but stranger things can happen. SUFC 20 points behind. Will be looking for a great showing from him, and maybe a poor week from Mark, if not next week, the final week. But of course, the closer we get to that last round, the more pressure can stack on, and that's when things can start to get a little bit hairy. We've seen it a little bit tonight, maybe some rash moves from the likes of Victor Mean towards the end of the race, maybe cost him some time. But yeah, we'll get some of our podium sitters in, hopefully, for a little chat.
Trying to remember, Marshall's name is a 5, and I need to type it in. Just
it
give
is
me a minute.
I_am_ Marshall with a 5, yep.
Yes. But where's the 5, sorry?
It is in Marshall, after the R. MAR 5 Hall. There you go. It's a nice little bit of spelling for use tonight. But while we wait for our podium sitters and Rob to jump in with us, I hope you all enjoyed that race. I know we certainly did. It was a chaotic, hectic one. It had pretty much a little bit of everything you could ever have wanted from a race. A little bit of rain, a little bit of drama, a little bit of safety car, a little bit of mad pit stop strategies, and a little bit of heartbreak as well.
I should have them in there 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
It just keeps you rambling for longer, so I'm trying to say to the viewers by being quick, because, listening to you rambling is boring.
Oh, right, okay.
I love your voice, God, don't worry.
Oh, I know you do, I know. Yeah, so, of course, we go to Jeddah next week. Again, 66 points available. Just back to a normal feature race next week on what is... it's a tricky track, let's be honest. It's very similar to Mexico in the way that the first sector has a kind of an SS section, some nice twisted turns. There's a few long straights with DRS, could prove some nice overtaking opportunities. But of course, safety cars are going to be possibly a big thing there, and the walls are a little bit closer. But that's enough about next week, because we have our race winner tonight, and I'm going to be straight to the point. My driver of the day, tremendous performance, Trunders. No pens. You run a pretty solid race, qualifying and the sprint even, but to do it in the feature, that was immaculate. You never really put a foot wrong that whole race. Yeah, it was a pretty dramatic race when it came to the yellow flags and the safety cars, constant starting and stopping. You'll be must be said, if you're at the front next week, you'll be pretty confident for any safety car restarts that you've had enough practice. And I suppose looking at that Jeddah next week, do you think you can replicate the sort of performance tonight, or different track, of course? Oh, definitely no doubts from me. Lee, hand it across to you. Anything for our race winner Trundles tonight?
Just congratulations, no questions, because as always, Scott loves to take the spotlight.
I can't trust you to ask the questions because you'll just start
can.
once. Right, well, there you go. We have got Mr. P2, I am Marshall. Lee, take us away.
Marshall, a very chaotic race from... I'm surprised Scott gave me this, sorry. A very chaotic race, just walk us through your P2. Can't, you know, we're happy with that, considering just how chaotic that was.
Well, I think I caused one of the safety cars. The final chicane, I had Mark catching me, and I wanted to get him out with DRS, and I just put too much throttle down.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And it just spun me around, and I didn't want to sit on track because I was right in the way, so I just tried to get up and running again, but it brought the safety car out, so I assumed it was for me. So it actually gave me, it was in my pit window for mediums, or the medium runners. It was a stroke of luck that...
a stroke of luck.
It benefited me in that way, and I feel bad for... actually, I think it was SUFC and somebody else at the front on hards anyway, so it probably wasn't their pit window. But yeah, it benefited medium runners for that. But yeah, I felt good in on that track on mediums and the hards, especially through the S section. I think I was catching, especially in the first stint before I brought out the safety car. I was definitely catching everyone in front of me through the S section alone. I seemed to when I'm following people, I could see that I was riding the right hand curb and nobody else was, so it's given me a much better exit. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. Really good race. Some great battles with SUFC in there as well. Congratulations, Trunders and SUFC.
Thanks, man. There's a good battle with you at the start as well, especially going down that main straight.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. It was a really fun race. I've not had a fun race like that for a little while.
Yeah, well, maybe less fun next week, Jeddah. Just, are you confident you can maybe go one better and get a win next week, or are we happy with a podium?
Hey, let's not jinx it. I do enjoy Jeddah. There's two corners that I do struggle on with traction, but I do enjoy it. So yeah, I'm hoping again for another good race, and it'd be nice to get a podium. But we've got so many fast guys in here.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I can get there again, I'd be happy.
Yeah, well, congrats on your P2 and good luck for Jeddah. Scott, do you have any questions?
I've always got questions, Lee. I'm quite a bit of a fast thinker. Yeah, just congratulations again, Marshall. It's not the first time we've seen you up here. I believe it's your first full season anyway in CRL. You did a little bit at the tail end of the season prior. I'm hoping you'll be joining us for next season. You've had a decent season overall, it must be said. I believe you're in that battle for P4 as things stands. Obviously, after tonight, before tonight you were mathematically in it. I believe you are now mathematically out of the championship hunt. But next season, are we going to see the Marshall take over?
Yeah, start off. AFL has had a fantastic season too, and I've known for the last couple of weeks, looking at the standings, that my battle is for fourth. So that's what I've just been focusing on. But yeah, I think the guys at the top have been super quick, to be fair. So yeah, fourth is where I'm aiming for, and still will be. But yeah, I think I pushed into fourth after tonight, which is great. And yeah, so work is my issue, so I have to stay away for work 1 to 2 nights a week, and I run my own league on Wednesday, so it can't be Wednesday that I stay away. So it's like, if I do 2 nights, do I do Monday, Tuesday away, or do I ruin my weekend and go Thursday, Friday, and have to ruin my own Saturday?
Yeah.
But I hope to be back. I really want to be back.
I hope we do see you in the grid next year then, or next season, not quite next year. We're not waiting that long, hopefully, but yeah. All the best once again tonight. Brilliant result and best luck going forward. SUFC then. A bit of a love-hate night, it must be said. You had a bit of a poor sprint race, pulled it back in the feature. Provisionally, you've lost 2 points on Mark Wilson tonight, but 2 races to go. You're only 20 off the top. I suppose I want to ask you how you're feeling, because I know the answer will be you're all right, happy, but you could have done better, or you would have wanted more. But going forward, we'll look to Saudi Arabia and Belgium. How do you rate your chances?
To be honest, Saudi Arabia is one of those tracks, isn't it? I'm good at racing it when I'm by myself, but chucking the madness of everyone else, it can be pretty carnage.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, really. To be honest, I don't think I'm fighting for the championship now, so I think it just sort of takes that pressure off, unless obviously a miracle happens. But I'm just sort of trying to I've just relaxed a little bit more and just take it as it is. But because like Mark's had a fantastic second half to the season, I sort of had like a really good first half, and then he's had like a really good second half. So it's sort of, but I think he's gonna edge it, to be honest.
Well, provisionally anyway, before Stuart, the 20-point advantage, like you say, and then I'm going to exactly echo what you've said. The 2 years and Victor Mean, 3 drivers all over the 200-point mark, with about 20 points going in with 3 rounds to go, about 30 to 20 between them all going into the last couple of rounds. It's been brilliant to watch. I suppose then, again, hope to see you back next season. And I definitely think you'll be one up there. I don't think that's a doubt. If it is still tier 4 for you, again, I can see you moving on up through the tiers if you do stick about and keep racing. I suppose my only sort of other question I've got from you, the sprint race, a kind of completely different pace and sort of flow we've seen to you maybe in the feature race. You looked a lot more settled in the feature race. The sprint race, you seemed, obviously that early 3-second penalty and a few half spins, I take it, was that just trying to find the limit of the car and get used to the circuit a bit more?
Well, that 3-second penalty, I don't know what happened, because I tried, I think it was at turn 2 or turn 3, I tried to avoid Spider, because I was a bit hard on the brakes, and then I moved out wide so I didn't hit him, and then instantly give me a 3-second penalty with no warnings. So that was quite annoying. It sort of put me in a bad mood for the rest of the race. But through the S section, I don't know why, I just couldn't get it down. Whereas Marshall was flying through there, fair play to him. We had some really good battles on the track, and he sort of just stuck around like a rash, to be honest. I just couldn't catch him. I sort of gained on him down the straights a little bit, and then he'd just pull away through the S's, and it was just I was just sort of trying to watch him just to see if he got another penalty. He went quite wide a couple of times. I was like, oh, it's not, what's going on? It's not adding it on. But no, fair play to him. He was really quick to do. So a bit of a tactical safety car, I think, as well. I think that was on purpose. But
I wish it was. It was I took the lead for the first time in the race for half a lap. I was enjoying it. I was like, I would love to stay there for a whole lap.
It was literally right in front of me, because I was sort of behind Murphy, and then I seen him spin out, and it was just at that perfect time where he still was able to get into the pits. So I think that was a bit tactical, to be honest. But
yeah, Marshall, on behalf of the stewards, I'd like to request a full race replay. No, not at all. Congratulations, then. That's the last thing from me for the top 3 anyway. Trunders, Marshall and SUFC, congratulations to all 3 of you. We now move on to
special edition.
Yeah, the special edition. He did me the favour of getting me in for a chat after Singapore. So Rob requested it. I think he deserves a chat. He did get a podium in the sprint race, and he's had one of those seasons where a season of what could have been, showing so much promise, and then it slips away. But Rob, how are you feeling, mate?
Well, as you know, I spoke to you before earlier on in the day, and I said, I'll be lucky if I get a point.
Yeah, we quoted you on
that. To get a podium in sprint, that was a massive boost. I'm happy myself. Marshall, while you're here, I do want to say I did catch what you guys said on stream. What happened there? That was me. Me and Marshall had a bump. I caused him to spin, and I take full responsibility for that. So, Marshall, I am sorry for that incident that we did have. SUFC, what happened in the sprint? As far as I was concerned, we didn't have any contact, and I don't know why you got the 3 second. If you are going to put it in, I can look through my footage to try and help you out there, lad, because you shouldn't have had 3 seconds.
No, that wasn't your fault. I was just a bit late on the brakes. I tried to avoid you, and it just
you did. It was
instantly
good
give me a
battling.
3 second. No, it was fair play. You were quick tonight. It's like,
And I appreciate the apology. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, no worries, man. If I'm in the wrong, I'm always going to admit it. There's no point me sitting there and going, "Oh, I'm not in the wrong," when I am. Simple as that. I'd rather say sorry.
That's what I love about this league. Actually, this is probably the best run league I've been in. Better than my own 2021.
Jeez.
But apart from that, just for you, Lee, just for you, to be on the podium in the sprint, everything was okay.
Oh, yeah. For those that don't know, that is the only sentence I've been hearing most of the week whenever you're in a party.
No, you were saying it too.
A few times. But yeah, Rob, you did say as well that you wanted a podium before the end of the season. You sort of got one, but Saudi Arabia.
I'll
Belgium.
take what I can get at this point.
Well, that's something. Saudi Arabia and Belgium. Do we think you get the real deal?
Saudi Arabia, probably not, because it is one of those where one false move and you're in the war. Not my strong suit. I do enjoy the track, but Belgium, it would be nice to end the season, maybe with that maiden that I'm hunting, but I'm looking to season 9 now, if it's a thing. So I think we've got a real championship battle going on up front with the top 3, and I still think it's anyone's game. Even with SUFC being 20 odd points away, I still think it's any of their game, personally.
I can completely agree with that. Anything can happen, we all know that, and gaps can shrink like that. But I think we'll cut things off here then, folks. I know we've had a great deal of chat, but you can appreciate me and Lee have been rambling for the good part of 2 hours now. It has been 2 hours, Lee, so thank you to our top 3 once again for joining us for a chat. Thank you for Rob as well, joining us a special little chat. It's always good to get a chat with some of our drivers. We might even do this next week again, get a couple of other guys in if anybody wants it.
New champion, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
That's the
We'll
incentive.
see how things goes. But we'll round it off pretty quickly then. Lee, thank you for joining me once again. It's been a long one tonight, and it's always good to have somebody in the co-commentators box. And I've got to say, you're getting mighty good at it.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. But just make sure. Well, I'm going to steal your little section here. Join us on Thursday, 7:30 for tier 2, 8:30 for tier 1. Join me and Scott next week at the same time, 8:15, where we could crown our season 8 tier 4 champion.
That right there, folks. That's when your little son rides his bike without stabilisers for the first time. That was beautiful. But yeah, exactly what the wee man said there. Make sure to join us on Thursday night, Tier 2 and Tier 1. Back again with me and Lee on Thursday night. There's also the Tier 3 battle going on next Monday night. And all that's left to say is have a wonderful rest of your evening, have a wonderful rest of your week. And from everybody at Cohen, I don't know where I'm going with this. Good night.